All right, so we're going to take a look at a few examples for our pyramids. So we have a square pyramid. It tells us right here we have a square pyramid, so we know our base, all of these sides are congruent to each other. Now, I want to kind of recall some of the information, so I'm going to scroll up a little bit that we need to have. We need to have the perimeter of the base, we need to have the slant height, and we need the area of the base. Now, we have two different pieces of information. We have one that says 9 inches and one that says 11 inches. The slant height, remember, goes along one of those lateral faces. So it's going down the side of the pyramid, like it was sliding down the side of the pyramid. So this 11 inches is your slant height. The 9 inches that's provided is your height that is perpendicular to the base. So those are two different pieces of information. So we have the height that is perpendicular to the base, and it hits right at the center of the base. And then we have the slant height, but we don't have any information about our base. So I want to kind of highlight, if you can tell, maybe I'll do this in a different color, do this in this dark red. My height hits right at the center of my base and can be connected to the side and connect with our slant height and create a right triangle. Now that right triangle is going to help us find something about our base. So if I'm just going to sketch that out a little bit. Right triangle, the height is 9, the slant height is 11. This little missing piece of information right here is going from the center of our square to the side of a square. So if I think about my little square base, all four sides are congruent, and that height hits right at the center and goes to the side. So that is my X. So if I'm trying to find the full side length, I can say one side of base is equal to 2 times X. So I'm going to do Pythagorean theorem here to find X, and then that's going to help me find the full length of my base. And I'm going to move this information. Sorry, guys. Otherwise, it won't make sense in the order that I wrote it in. So I'm going to move that over here. There we go. So now with Pythagorean theorem, I have 9 squared plus x squared equals 11 squared. I find out that x is root 40. So one side of my base is equal to 2 root 40 because I just double it. If you want to go ahead and put that as decimal, you can. Right now, I'm just going to leave it as a radical so that as I go through and do my multiplication, then it's a little easier to deal with. So a few things I need to isolate. Slant height, again, was 11 inches. That's something we already found. For my lateral surface area, I'm going to take 1/2 times the perimeter. So if one base is 2 root 40, perimeter is going to be, there's 4 of those, 2 root 40. So my perimeter is going to be equal to 8 root 40. Make sure you use parentheses. Or if you're using the decimal, take all of the decimals with you. And then times the slant height, so times 11. So when I put that all into the calculator, I'm going to take 1/2 times 8 root 40, parentheses, times 11. And that's going to get me 278.2804, yada, 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 inches squared. And double check your homework to make sure it says whether you're running to the nearest tenth or nearest hundredth. It will bounce them back between two different numbers based on what we're doing. And then for the total surface area, we are going to take that lateral we just found, so 278.2804 and change, and add that to the area of our base. For our base, we're going to take 2 root 40 times 2 root 40. Make sure you use a calculator on this and use parentheses. And that gives me 160. So the area of my base is 160 inches squared. So plus 100, not 120, 160. And so I add that to my previous answer of 278.2804341. And we get the total surface area of our pyramid as 438.2804 and some change inches squared. So make sure you're going through and reading your questions. How are you rounding? What is the best way to go about this? And making sure you're typing your answers in correctly with units. Let's take a look at another example. The pyramid in the figure has a square base, so we're dealing with another square. So all four sides are congruent. The surface area of the pyramid is 63.84, so I already know the total surface area. It is asking me to find the slant height. So we need to work backwards. I'm going to be saying surface area is equal to lateral, which is 1/2 perimeter times slant height, plus the area of the base. So I need to go through and plug in all of my pieces of information that I have. Since I have a side length of 4.2, my base is equal to 4.2 times 4.2, which is 17.64. And then the perimeter is 4.2 times 4. So 16.8. So I'm going to take these pieces of information and plug them in to our formula we have over here. I know our total surface area is 63.84. That's going to be equal to 1/2 times my perimeter, which was 16.8, times the slant height, plus the area of my base, which was 17.64. So now all this has turned into is you're solving for the slant height. You can use X if you don't want to use the cursive L, but that's your goal. So now we are going to do a little addition and subtraction, move stuff around. I'm going to subtract my 17.64. And I get 46.2 is equal to 1/2 16.8 times the slant height. You can go ahead and multiply that 16.8 times 1/2. And we get 46.2 equals 8.4 times the slant height. So then I divide that 8.4 on both sides. And we get a slant height of 5.5 feet. And now it's not feet squared because we're just looking for slant height. We're looking for one piece of measurement. How tall this is right here. This would be your slant height. Okay.